Hello, I hope you're ready for the next instalment. People who know me know I'm quite punctual. Right, so loads of really lovely feedback yesterday, and there were a couple of people who said they'd quite like me to paint some daffodils and give you an idea how I do that. So I do have my models here, and I like to have them, some of them closed and some of them half open and some of them fully open. So I'm just going to show you, like, this is obviously a whopping painting of daffodils. It's a bit of a sort of mega, but just if you just look, you'll see there are open ones, closed ones, ones in full bloom, and also leaves. Hello, Marianne Ray. I'll be looking forward to your next efforts. So I thought I'd give you an idea how I would paint a closed daffodil, and it's really unbelievably simple when I find my brush. So again, I use one of these flat brushes, and I've got some paint that I've made ready. So just with a simple, I'm hoping you might be able to see a bit better. I've angled things a tiny bit more so you can see the paper. But really, to do a closed daffodil, it's literally just sort of one brush stroke. I put a little bit more intensity of colour, which will sort of make it look like it's real. The other thing about a closed bud daffodil, they have they've got a hint of green from where the flower starts there. So I've just touched some green paint, and you can see it's dribbling down, it's bleeding into the rest of the area. And anyone who knows me and who's ever talked about painting will know that what I absolutely love about watercolour are the things that happen by magic, not the actual brush strokes, but like when it moves by itself. If you look at this one here, I tip it down like that, and you can see all the dark paint is falling down to here. Do it the other way, and it goes the other way, and that's going to sort of ruin it a bit. But and then the next thing, as you can see, I've watched Blue Peter when I was little, and so I always think it's a good idea to have something you prepared earlier. So moving on to this one, daffodils have this like a papery, parchmenty covering to the flower bud, which like that. And then the stalk, that one will do. I've got loads of green that I pre-prepared. And again, I'm just putting a dot of quite intense green there to just try and make it look real. So so simple. Hello, Carolyn Milburn, Hazel Williams and Jane Anderson. God, so exciting. Fifey thinks it's hilarious, he really does. The first video he saw, he had what we call a fly away home moment, and the only people who'll know what that means are my daughters. We watched a video called Fly Away Home, and Fifey found it quite emotional, and he actually blubbed. I'm going to ignore the phone. Right, so moving on to another one I prepared earlier. With the stalk. Do you remember the do an open one? Yeah, I'm going to, Ruth. Show you something I do. Sometimes I want to make it look as though the leaf is behind the daffodil. So I get this brush, do that, and then stop just before it, and then start again afterwards. It's just unbelievably simple. Any of you could do that. So one more thing I'm going to do, which is what I do. I have a very, 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 very pointy brush, and for this one here, to make it really look like a daffodil, this papery cover has got little tiny little veins, and I think if you put them on, it just makes it come to life. So I'm going to really quickly do that with this very, very small pointy brush. I'm not really a big fan of very, very pointy brushes. I like to use big ones and make big statements. I hope you can see. So I just do these just like little simple lines. Doesn't really matter about what colour they are. I hope you're looking, Marianne Ray. I must say we're all very impressed. You see the hello, Joe McNamara, how are you in Ireland, in Galway? Give my love to your family. So I hope that gives you a good idea how to do like a closed daffodil bud. Before I go on to an open daffodil, do you remember yesterday's duck? I thought it might be fun just to go to the next Celia Ridley Loving It But Have to Watch Later. If I happen to put it up on my Facebook page, I'll decide later. Right, I will get a fairly wide brush. Again, I'm going to use this one, big brush. So yesterday's really, really simple white duck is quite flat at the moment. And the next thing I would do to that is do you remember what a wash is? It's just like a layer of watercolour paint. So I've made quite a pale wash, and I'm now going to hint at where the shadows would be on this Indian runner duck. And it sort of gives it form. It's beginning to sort of bulk out and look like it's a real duck. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put a little bit more colour on my brush, and just put some slightly darker colour right at the bottom of its body. You can see it's about to run away. I'm going to do the same to the bill and the feet. She says, without any paint ready. You've got some now. Quite a sort of strong orange colour. We've always kept Indian runner ducks. I just think they're the most hilarious things. And they're a bit like clockwork ducks. And they're very easy to keep as well. Oh, I've just put my elbow in some paint. You might have noticed I wear fairly drab clothes to paint. And there is a reason for that. Nearly always grey clothes. See, it really is just sort of coming to life. Hello, Mark Rowney. Fabulous, hunting out my pants today, Jane Anderson. Oh, paints, sorry. Right. And then I'm just going to put an eye, a sort of sneaky little eye there. So that, I think, is sort of quite, it's already got fun and it's got form. So that's the little duck. Hope you like that. Hello, Scott Donaldson, Paul Naughty Knox. Right. So an open daffodil like this one here. I'll show you how I would do that. And there's one. I've actually got a whole load here, so I'm sort of looking at that. I'm going to paint the I don't know what they are, petals, sepals. I hope you can see all right. So again, using quite a biggish brush, each one is just one stroke, lift and twist. And then you see here they come out of a green area there, so I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna include that while it's still wet. And just sort of let it bleed into the whatever they are, petals, like it does in the real thing. See? You see it setting off on its own there. We can remedy that just by tipping it up again. That's the fun part of watercolour. So here is one I prepared earlier, and I'm going to show you what to do next. Next I'm going to actually paint the stronger yellow trumpet bit. Do you know what? I was a little tiny bit nervous about today because the first time I did this, I just sort of did it and it was just a laugh. But then the next day I was thinking, oh, people have expectations. And I was a tiny little bit nervous. But today I feel more relaxed again. I hope you can see. So I'm using the brush and just sort of hinting at this lovely sort of ruffled edge here, using the brush. And then I've got some stronger paint with some more intense colour. I'm just sort of touching parts of it just to sort of give it some sort of, don't be daft, it's great and a real honest. Thank you, Louise Stewart. So I hope that is beginning to give you an idea of how it would be. Then we've got the papery thing that we did on the closed daffodil, which I'm going to do now. And then the stalk. And I'll probably just get a little bit of more intense green and just put it there. And then some leaves, just like lifting, twisting. I do this, I'll twist it round as I'm painting it. I like to do a bent over leaf as well, look. So it sort of looks like it's snapped over. So the big painting which I showed you initially, it's just building up like tight flower buds, slightly open ones. Hello Eddie Hector. And then just adding leaves as we go. Again, it's quite nice to almost create it, a sense that it really is in an environment by starting a leaf here. Stop it there. Start again. Might just bring it a little bit closer. But it just gives the impression that the leaf is behind the flower. So that's daffodils. I had another idea. Trees and wall. Yes, I had something ready. Something I prepared earlier. That's odd. I was going to give you... Oh yes, I remember. Back in one... Like, because yesterday I sort of casually referred to, backgrounds and trees and things. And in quite a lot of my paintings... Oh, Lordy. I use backgrounds. So, for instance, this hound here, that they've just got a basic sort of wet green background, and while it was wet, I've added colour to create these sort of intense areas of blue. But I also like to do really sort of like woodlandy background. Here we are, woodlandy type backgrounds, like this, just sort of building up a suggestion of like a sort of depth of forest. And I thought I'd have a little go at that. So this is the beginnings of what could be like a stone wall and a woodland background. And the way I did this, I'll start over here. Just get some blue and some green. Really just with a big brush, very, very loosely, sort of laying it sideways to hint at, so that it's nothing definite, it's just a sort of block of colour. And then a stone wall underneath. It might just start like that, with just a block of colour, but quite often what I do, if I'm painting a stone wall, and literally I've got a stone wall there, another one there, I've got one in front of me, I've got one behind me, and then I've got stone walls all going up around there. And I look and I think, well, what's the light like today? What colours are these stone walls today? And sometimes they seem quite blue, and sometimes they seem quite red, sometimes they seem quite yellow, and sometimes they're quite green. So I try and reflect honestly what that stone wall looks like on this particular day. And I get like quite a big brush, and then just sort of hint at the slightly sort of rough shapes of the stones, and some of them stick up a bit high. And then stone walls around here, you tend to get, I think they're called thrusts or something, like great big flat ones that go right across the stone wall. So again, I would hint at them. And obviously this is just the start. And then more underneath, and we might come back to this tomorrow. But that's like the start of a woodland background and a wall in the foreground. So over on this side of the paper, I'm going to begin to build up a sense of layers and layers of trees through the forest. I'm just mixing up a bit of fairly random colour. And I'm really lucky here because I've got trees all around me. I've got deciduous ones. So again, this flat brush is just perfect for this sort of thing. And then I would go onto a slightly smaller brush. And sometimes just almost loose, just let the brush sit between my fingers so it's not too definite. It's really just hinting at the shape of the trees. beginning to look like trees behind the wall. That'll dry quite a lot paler, and then I can put another layer on top, and then more trees slightly darker. What else did I do? Sheep. Oh, I love painting sheep. I'm going to do a really, really quick. Oh, no, I know what I'm going to do. This is the time of year when we see hares. So I'm going to finish with like a really lovely just idea, quick idea of hares. Oh, I know what I meant to tell you. Right, source material. Somebody said, do you like working from life or photos or what? Well, it's most of the paintings I do are something I've seen, something that struck me and moved me and made me like want to have a response, and the way I respond is by sort of reaching for the paintbrushes. So the most important thing is that sort of mental, the memory and the feeling, and then I do lots of drawings. I've always drawn from being like a little girl. So this is quite a nice book, and there's a girl I know she's got a tame hare at home, so I go and do lots and lots of drawings of it. I've got other drawings lying around. I just saw one of the horses and dogs and things. So I do drawings, and I watch things, and I handle things. I take photographs as well. I'm not really good at taking photographs, but they're really useful sometimes. But I'm not really interested in getting a photograph and then making that photograph into a painting, because I'm more interested in getting across the sort of the sense of the like movement or the relationship between all the animals or all the ducks I'm painting. So ideally I would have them right outside the window, and quite often I would rig up a big cage or a pen and have birds, or I've had things like a hare, or yeah, I mean birds are quite good for that outside the window. Sheep I don't have to worry about, because they are literally there, and they come right up to the fence. So I've got plenty of them to look at, and the same with the cattle, they're just right there. And so yeah, I use a mixture of memory, drawings, working from life. Flowers are great because they don't move either, they sit quite nice and still, so I can paint them. Hound, God, I love your hounds. Karen, Patrick, Joyce Martin. Right, sheep. So this is like the absolute simplest thing. And again, I just get a flat brush. I hope you can. I'm going to tip it a little bit so you can. Got quite an interesting arrangement today, which I might use again. So yeah, where's that? Sheep. Very, very, very simple. Row of sheep. Brush on its side. If I can do something in a simple way, I will. I'm not a great one for fannying on for ages. Don't really use big brushes that much. So I'm just sort of adding a little bit of colour. Back to a smaller brush. Oh, here we go. What end will the heads be? I know this is terribly, terribly stylised. Fairly pointy brush. Can't wait to see how you get on with these, Marianne Ray. Horns. Legs. Kate Spottiswood, hello, haven't seen you for ages. Jenny, turn the camera a little to your left. Anything else you'd like? Jenny Catherine Dixon, turn the camera a little to your left. Left it a bit late. I know these are really just silly little legs, but they give you an idea, I think. It's something you could easily try yourself. These are my sheep running after the snacker, because that happens every day. Right, turn the camera a little to your left. I can only see 2 sheep. 1, 2, 3, 4 sheep eating daffodils. Right, I think I've probably bored you all for quite long enough. I can't wait to see your attempts. Just message them to me. I'll try not to do any humiliation, but so far they're pretty good. That sounds like Fifey's coming in for lunch. Hello?
Hello.
He is. Okay, well, have a lovely day. I'm hoping to get back in the river later on. I had a lovely swim yesterday. Do you want to say hello, Fifey? Wave?
Yeah, I'm waving.
Oh, sorry, I can't see that. Okie doke. Bye.